reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Listening to Guild Wars Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter, and by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon at doghousesystems.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of Guild Wars Reporter. This is episode 146. I am Celeste, and as always, I am joined by the alluring Allona.
Hello, Celeste, who is awesome.
Did we fail at alliteration this week?
I couldn't think of anything. Clarifying Celeste. They both start with C, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know. Scintillating.
Ooh.
I like that.
I like scintillating. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say it was mine. Hello, scintillating Celeste.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Fine.
Fine. I got a new mic.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. This is like the first time I've actually used it. I've had it for almost a week, so...
Yay!
Yeah.
So that's good stuff. I think we should go ahead and just get into what we did this week, because we have some pretty amazing news to share.
We do! We do!
Yes, what did you do in-game this week?
The past 2 weeks, I've been doing my homework for Surviving the Mists, which we'll be talking about with Ultra a little bit later on. So I'm not going to go into too much detail there, other than I'm doing it, or I have done it.
Mm-hmm.
On Fungeon Night, we tried the Twilight Arbor Aether Path, and gave up, and then fractaled.
Fun.
Yeah, well, we started it with the... Let's start, and if it feels like it's going to be not fungeoning, then no harm, no foul. We'll just bail out of it. It's not a big deal, and we'll do something else. So I think it was fairly early on in the fungeon, and we're like, yeah, we don't have the right setup for this. This was not well thought out at all. Let's just cut our losses. But it was fun. It was fun for what it was, and actually, it was still informational, if that's a word.
Infotational?
Infotainment.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I did a bunch of personal story stuff over for a bunch of alts, prompted by the fact that I realized, much to Hunter's chagrin, that I hadn't actually joined the Vigil yet on any of my characters. So,
how did that happen?
It just didn't happen. I just hadn't joined the Vigil yet, so...
Huh.
And I was really close. I would think I was like 2 little blobbity bits away. Like just, I can't think, what do you call those?
Story missions?
Sure. Blobbity bits, story missions. I was 2 of those away. And so now I have a character in the Vigil, and I can buy all the armors. So that'll be good.
Yup.
I still wish you could either salvage or Mystic Forge or sell for some amount of money those armor sets.
Yeah, it does seem kind of like cruddy.
The only thing you can do is throw them out.
Yeah. You should at least be able to salvage them. At least for the base material.
Yeah, even base. Even base would be fine. But anyway, I did a few other ones, and I didn't want to do too many because, with the changes that are going to be coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did a few with those, mostly for the achievement points, because I hadn't got to... There was a certain point in the Char's personal story that I hadn't got to, and I was just looking for quick achievement points, and because I was really close to them and just hadn't done it.
Mm-hmm.
I made another part of my medium ascended armor, the legs.
Leggings for everyone.
Leggings. So now I have the shirt bit and leggings, and so I'll continue on with those. I did guild missions on Monday with Maven, and once again, I did not lose.
Woohoo!
which is really the only important factor here.
Pretty much.
Last night we did fractals instead of a show, and that was fun.
Yes, it was.
It got not safe for work pretty quick.
Yes, very quickly.
Very quickly. It pretty much stayed that way the whole time.
Yep.
And then afterwards, I popped into Guild Wars 1 because it is... Actually, we might not even mention this on the show.
We do.
Okay, good. And I got a ton of minis and maxed out that segment of my Hall of Monuments from Spirit and Hunter, and you gave me a bunch that I didn't have and put me at my 8 of 8 points for devotion.
Mm-hmm.
So only 1 million more points to go. You know what? I know I'm missing stuff. Leggings, crop top, headband, jazzercise.
Yeah, I know that I'm forgetting stuff as well, so...
I know, I did tons!
As far as what I did in game, I finally finished Frenzy.
Yay!
And it's sitting in my bank.
I thought you had it up for sale already.
No.
Oh, I thought for sure you had.
No, it's in my bank. I'm still trying to decide. I think I'm pretty far on the side of just selling it because I really am not sure if I really want to keep it. It does look freaking cool, and yes, it's my first legendary, but I don't really know if I want to keep it or sell it and work towards another one, so I'm still trying to decide that. Please don't send me your hate mail with regards to it, but that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm more excited about this than you are.
I've decided my next goal is going to be to do Maudry, because I haven't.
Well, that's a good goal.
And I need to.
And it will eat all sorts of bloodstone for you.
Yeah, I've got way too many stacks.
Mm-hmm.
I did the triple worm for the first time. Or successfully for the first time.
I was going to say. I've only done it successfully one time too, so fist bump.
It was on a TTS map where I got an invite from Black Lion Chest on Twitter. And the pro groups make it like super simple, and they were really friendly and helpful and just very like, this is how you do it, but still laid back about it in a way. It was really, really nice, very pleasurable.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think, I think I did it with Attuned. ATT is who I did it with.
Yep. So my thief is also level 80 now.
Ooh!
I finished off from 79 to 80 by completing LA. Because I had like half a level, and I was like, am I going to wait for another tome? Nah. So I decided to map LA and like part of Holbreck.
That's a good idea. Well, you might as well get it done.
Yeah. And I'm nearing rank 30 in PvP, so I'm excited about that. I don't know if that's the switch over for the next level, but I'm getting to rank 30, and that's progress, I think.
I think I'm 36.
I also tried to get my dailies done as often as possible.
Yeah, you.
At least log in to my new European account to get the daily.
I never bought that. I totally fell down on that.
It's really different to play on an account that doesn't have, like, anything.
Well, I thought your tweet on that was very interesting. Well, and you said that you experienced what it's like to not be able to use, was it Vistas?
Oh, yeah. You can't use diving goggles until a certain level. You can't see where the vistas are on the map. So even if you use them, you don't see the marker there. So it's like, oh, I can't actually complete the city.
Yeah, that's never affected me.
I got up to like level 7 or 8 and it's unlocked now, but I mean, if what I was doing was trying to get to 10 by mapping towns, I couldn't get that done.
Oh, interesting.
And I fractaled with you guys yesterday on the stream with Hunter, Inks, and M. So that was fun.
That was fun. I actually really enjoyed that. We should do it on Wednesdays more often. Do show Thursday. Your entire week is just like, don't pay attention to your family. That's not important. Let's do this instead.
Anyway.
I think I'm totally going to be going back into Guild Wars 1 more in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. So let's go ahead and talk about when we live stream. We live stream normally on Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. EDT, 6:30 p.m. PDT at twitch.tv/MMOReporter. And you subscribe to the audio version of podcast on iTunes or Stitcher. And remember to rate and review us there so that people know that we are a real podcast.
And talk about things.
In real English words. Thank you, Level Noodle.
Actually, no, I make up things all the time, so it's only marginally true. For realsies. Yes.
Report from Lion's Arch.
We're special snow charflakes because there was a lot of news today about specializations. There were 2 news posts on the official Guild Wars 2 site. There was a couple articles. There was Reddit exploding. There was just Twitter exploding. It was a thing.
It was pretty amazing. It was like seeing monsoon season begin.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I found a Too Long Didn't Read. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. And I also liked what you pulled out here. I want you to read it, the one from Shinryuku. I can't. Shinryuku.
Shinryuku tweeted that, and today was the day when the entire GW2 community was hit with 25 stacks of confusion. Duration, 24 hours. So true.
Because tomorrow there's an AMA on the Ready Up, and it will answer everything. And Celeste also found, and I actually watched it today as well, Mighty Teapot's video was quite a good resource to watch if you want to watch. Just there was actually a ton of good YouTube videos. Like Inks had one that was good, Boggs was good, Wooden Potatoes was good. Actually, watching them all helped make this make more sense. Like in a huge way.
I felt like the Mighty Teapots was, because I learned visually and the way that he described it somehow made a lot more sense to me than the others. It just fell into place a lot easier.
Yeah, and I think that if I found anyway, once it made sense, the rest of it just fell into place. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Mm-hmm.
So, specializations are not just the different lines that the presentation at PAX had us believe, or at least what we thought they were going to be, or what we inferred. All the traits, lines, and everything else is being thrown into upheaval with Heart of Thorns. Although, I think this is happening before Heart of Thorns. The switch over.
What? Why would they switch it over before Heart of Thorns?
I don't know. There was a couple people that said that, and I can't remember who exactly. I watched a lot of things today.
Okay.
There is some speculation that this change will happen prior to the core specializations, formerly known as trait lines.
That would be weird.
I don't know. It gives people used to it. I'm not sure. No one knows. From the 10-Ton Hammer interview, they ask, why create traits like this? Why specializations? And John Peters replied, we put out the new trait system last year. In retrospect, seeing it in the wild, we felt like the system wasn't in the game's best interest. We're also trying to build in future-proofing so we don't make you learn a new system every year.
Yeah, and this was me kind of paraphrasing it because this was like a super long explanation about why specs were exactly what they wanted to add into the game and why it was added this way and all this kind of stuff. And it was just kind of like, well, let's take this quote about in retrospect, and this is probably as close to a backpedal as we're ever going to see.
And I get why it needs to change. I still really like the premise of the current system, like the
having to go out and earn, yeah,
scavenger hunt.
But it tells you exactly where you have to go.
I know, but it's still, you have to do it. But it didn't pan out as well as, well, I think much of us thought it would. I thought it would be awesome. Yeah, I see why they're doing it. And I like that they're saying in retrospect.
I like that too.
Yeah.
One of the questions asked on the MMORPG article was that specialization seemed like a way for roles to be further defined in party situations. Will we be seeing support, crowd control, healing, and all those traditional roles with each different specialization? And John Peters answered, yes, specializations tend to fill a specific role. However, part of us realigning the skill and trait system is that we're trying to make sure that the normal professions, not just with specs, have more specific roles for players to play and more distinct play styles to fulfill those roles. He continues, specializations are a way for characters to still do this, but to go a bit deeper into the control and support roles in particular, to reinforce more of that kind of gameplay with this system, and with the types of new creatures and content that we're building into the game.
If you want to, it gives you more ability to fine-tune, I guess? Is that...
It does, but it also kind of, a lot of people were looking at this particular answer and saying, oh, okay, so we're going Trinity. I mean, you could go ahead and say that, yes, this is a swing towards the Trinity-like roles, but I think it's more of like...
But it's not, though, because...
It truly is a specialization, and there's no other real word that could go with that.
Yeah, it's not like saying you have to have an Ellie traded a certain way. It's... I want an Ellie, and I choose to trait this way.
Mm-hmm.
But a warrior could trait for that similar capacity.
Basically, yeah.
Still.
Specs are for people who are just starting a character, and elite specs are available at some point on the road to or at 80. I feel bad that I can't really say yes or no to that, because I don't remember if they said so.
Yeah. Also, specs is our abbreviation for specializations.
Yeah.
Celeste didn't want to type specialization like 8 million times.
Yeah. So they're specs.
Specs. Trait lines are being split so that you can only use 3 of the lines at a time. Like, kinda, sorta, not really. It's much more complicated than that, but it's not really. There's 5 core, which is still true.
Mm-hmm.
But you choose 3 that you can use. So you can no longer put like a couple points into a 4th one if you really wanted to, which I do actually have a couple like that, where it's like, I don't really want this minor, but this minor over here could prove a little bit useful. Blunk.
I noticed that almost all of my level 80s are in 4 traits.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting.
But part of that was the fact that things were kind of all over the map.
Definitely.
And you had to kind of like, okay, if I want to trait for X, I need to hit a bunch of different things to make that happen. And it sounds like they're trying to streamline that a bit.
Oh, definitely.
So each profession will have 5 core specializations, of which you can choose 3. These are the same as trait lines now, but have been combined, clarified, or updated to be more usable with existing rune sets. That sounds good.
Yes, definitely.
Each specialization has 3 minor traits. These are auto-enabled and define the playstyle of that specialization. And you said, sorry, this is feeling a bit like Rift. And it's funny because I totally texted Celeste earlier. I was like, the more I read about this, the more it's starting to feel like Rift with soul trees and all this other stuff, which not bad. I thought that was a great system. So
it is.
Yay. And I was looking at the UI that they put out as well. It's looking very trait tree. Again, not that that's a bad thing. There are 9 major traits to choose from, Adept, Master, and Grandmaster types. You can now only choose from 1 of each type, but bear in mind, they're not the traits that are in game right now. They've been improved. Hopefully. Is that hopefully yours?
Yes.
Well...
I was trying to sum up because I read all of these articles and tried to condense it and like go through it and experience it and watch all these videos, and I'm trying to make it so that it's straight in my head and correct, so I had to just type it out.
Yes. I actually really like the next point that you wrote out, but I want you to read it because... No, I thought you summed it up really well, and I want you to get to say it.
This comes from the point where everybody was saying that your base stat is 926, and I was like... Where are they getting this number? Where is 926? I don't see 926 anywhere.
Actually, I kept hearing that too. I'm like, meh. Apparently other people pay far more attention to this than I do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I understood. So, you know those numbers on the equipment panel? Those are your stats. They're influenced by your armor, jewelry, weapons, and your traits. Those numbers are going to be adjusted as well. The new base number will be raised to 1,000. Whereas when you're at 926, it means that you have no stats enabled and you are completely naked, but level 80. All of the gear is going to be adjusted upwards, and all of this is to make up for the fact that traits are no longer going to be modifying these stat numbers.
I really like that they're splitting those out.
Oh, I do too. I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Having a nice base, like why 926? That seems random.
Why?
Guild Wars 2 goes from Imperial to Metric with Heart of Thorns.
It kind of seems that way, yeah.
Skills are also going to be modified by the implementation of specs as well, specializations. The example they gave is that Necromancer's Wells will now be ground targeted permanently or as a default because they're taking away the trait that would allow them to be ground targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Another is that the Engineer's Mortar will be returning as a kit rather than an elite, but I thought it was staying an elite. It's just all elites will now have a classification to them. Like some do and some don't right now. Like the one warrior elite is a shout and it says shout and is affected by traits that modify shouts. The mortar for the engineer or time warp for mesmer are not classified as anything. So you can't modify them or make them better with traits. I thought that was all that they were saying there.
Oh, okay. Then I misunderstood that.
I might be misunderstanding that, but that was how I was reading that. Because I was like, woo! Time warp can have trait applied to it. Yay!
Yay!
Moving on to the 10-ton article, they've asked, you've hinted at what some specializations will get, but it sounds as though it's going to take a fair amount of time to change from, say, ranger to druid and reset up your profession. Is this the case, or are we getting build saving? You said, AKA, please tell me there will be build templates. It's like, yeah. I would love that. But John Peter says, nope, it takes about 3 seconds to switch from ranger to druid. And I want to see that timed.
I'm pretty sure that it would take about 3 seconds, but not necessarily to get everything else set up properly.
Yeah, if you want to change your armor sets and everything else, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's a nice idea.
Mm-hmm.
The skill and trait unlocking is transitioning into a new system. This is from the beginning of part 2, so if it's a little redundant, forgive it. Profession reward tracks are packages of skills, traits, specializations, and items that will make up the new unlock system. Rather than completing specific content for specific unlocks, everything will be unlocked by spending hero points on these new reward tracks.
Yes, skill challenges are getting a rename to hero challenges, which will reward those aforementioned hero points, and these points can also be earned by simply leveling a character. Backtracking a smidge on this, it took me a while to wrap my head around, because you got tons of text from me about this. I'm like, so wait, what's happening with the scrolls and all this other stuff? And so I'm kind of really hoping tomorrow answers a lot of these things.
I hope so too, because I have the feeling that skill points that you haven't spent but are already on a character are going to get converted right away.
Yes.
But beyond that, like the scrolls and stuff like that, should I go ahead and eat them on my alts that don't have everything unlocked?
Or just do it all on one character? Just like, go full bore, one character, eat all the skills, nom nom. So, I don't know.
I don't know either.
A character who is level 80 should have an adequate amount of hero points to invest in the core specializations at the very least. PvP players won't have to worry about these unlocks because they'll be open automatically. A huge backpedal from making PvPers pay gold to unlock whichever Grandmaster traits they wanted to use in the past. And I did see a few Twitter conversations about that, I think it was Tough Love Critic he was okay. Like, he spent gold. It wasn't a big deal to him, but I think it was the Casual Hero was saying that, gold's still kind of a big deal to him, and he would be a little bit bummed if he was not reimbursed that money. But at the same time, he did use those during that time when other people didn't have them.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it's like, it was a gold sink.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that money back.
Yeah. It's the new glory.
Pretty much.
Gold is the new glory.
Oh, yeah.
Old skill points in excess of those earned by leveling and skill challenges will be converted into crafting materials for the Mystic Forge. Items and activities that were previously repeatable sources of skill points will now also provide that same crafting material. I'm like, what?
My speculation is that Miani will become useless, and the Mystic Forge recipes could get completely simplified and streamlined, and you're doing this thing that normally would have cost 3 skill points. Well, it costs 3 of this material now.
That would make sense, because I was actually wondering, I was talking with Cal about that, and I'm like, well, what about all the Mystic Forge recipes that, like, there's ones particularly for, like, legendary crafting that take a ton of them, isn't there? I just did it. You'd think I'd remember.
Okay, so the Bloodstone Shard is the biggest thing, and that's 200 skill points. Okay, so it's 200 of this material.
Yeah.
It's basically like culling the amount of unnecessary in-game icons and items that we don't need.
That'd be good.
It's nice that they decided to get creative with it, because they couldn't just say, okay, put a skill point in the Mystic Forge.
Mm-hmm.
And this way it gives them an alternative to make it to where it's just a currency.
I wonder if the wallet's going to get a revamp so that it is also expandable for when new currencies come in.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Whether or not I'm correct on the speculation, and I've read this answer a few times and I'm not sure. In the MMORPG interview, John Peters says, players will still get Mystic Forge materials from the traditional places where they used to get skill point items. I can't tell if he's saying yes to what I'm saying or no.
Like, meh.
Core specialization reward tracks are a thing.
Yeah.
That I still don't kind of get.
That would be how you unlock your skills.
But that's not the...
Or specializations, rather.
Yeah, it's specialization reward tracks. So it's like getting all of the traits for the spec? Is that what they mean?
So instead of going to location X and doing Y, you just earn...
Got it.
You equip that track and you unlock things.
Core skill reward tracks sound like a thing. The example given was that a warrior signet track would unlock all signet skills for a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
From the MMORPG article, the question asked was, one of the issues people had with the changes to player progression was that it took too long at early levels to unlock abilities that made characters interesting to play. You talk about how much a level 80 character should have unlocked, but at approximately what point do you think a new character will have enough hero points to unlock a core specialization or set of skills? John Peters answered, it is designed to allow you to spend hero points where you want to spend them, and also intended to give you more of those points by leveling up, so that there should be more choices available to you earlier on than as it currently stands.
Yay! I like it. Elite specializations. They will have new weapons. A single new weapon type for your profession. They tease that another profession will get a hammer, and they can add both main and offhand weapons.
This was basically just to clarify that you can have, a two-hander or a main or off being added as a specialization, not just, one weapon.
Okay.
Not just one two-handed weapon like we'd seen so far, basically.
Yeah, because I think we've really only seen staff and greatsword.
Which are two-handers.
Officially, but we can't. No, we saw the mesmer with the shield.
But it's not been technically confirmed.
My eyes confirmed it.
I know.
My eyes. Anyway, new skills, at least one heal for utility and one elite per elite specialization.
The Revenant example given was that you would get one heal, one elite, and a set of utilities of the same type.
Okay.
So, does that mean that the Revenant elite would be like all shouts, or all traps, or all something else? Glamours? I don't know. Trying to think of one.
All fashion blindfolds?
Yeah, yes.
They're taking fashion away from the mesmers.
One spec for a mystery profession will get traps, and an elite spec has that there will be a full set of 6 shouts, but no definition on which profession that would be.
The speculation I've seen for the traps is that that's thief. And
they already have traps.
Yeah, but the specialization will be all traps. For the full set of 6 shouts. The one I've seen was Guardian.
See, I look at that and I go, they already have shouts too.
Yeah, it's just you can specialize into it, though. And with a different weapon set as well. And it's not that you're getting something you didn't have before. It's that you can specialize in a way that you weren't able to before.
I like it better that it's something you weren't able to do before. So another question on 1010 was, how much of a revision are existing skills getting for each profession? Are any and all up for improvement or revision? And if so, to what degree do you think you've done this? John Peters basically answered, it depends on the skill. There are examples like where Heal as 1 is becoming a shout.
Yes.
Now I'm totally on board with Rangers getting shouts.
Mm-hmm.
All 6 of those shouts.
Also, ooh, I see where you're going with that. I can get behind your speculation.
I like that. To equip these skills, you have to train to the corresponding elite specialization, which should be pretty obvious.
Well, probably more information, the better, because as it is, wow, I'm glad there's so many other people who could read these things and make heads or tails of them. Because
yeah.
I got the thing I was reading, and I'm like, I understand all these words. It's the combination I'm having a problem with. So there are new mechanics, the new F slots, essentially. So a different way to take advantage of all that life force was the quote. MMORPG interview with John Peters says the warrior profession will have a new way to spend adrenaline and a new way to interact with their adrenaline bar, which I was like, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Chin stroke.
In the main article, he also mentions that there's going to be a new shatter for illusions for Mesmers.
Also interesting.
You sound very excited about this.
I'm making grommet. There's cheese.
There are new traits for the elite specialization, and it takes over a core spec spot, so you still only have 3 at a time, so it's like you have 2 core and 1 elite equipped.
Mm-hmm.
The examples would be a trait that removes a condition when you evade, or a trait that gives your character a defiance bar.
Yes, I heard a lot of gooing and gawing about that.
Yeah. For now, characters will only be able to equip a single elite specialization. Doing so will be as easy as it currently is to swap trait points. Simply exit combat and select your new elite specialization, or do it in the Heart of the Mists for PvP.
Finally, these reward tracks unlock everything for an elite specialization: weapon, unique mechanics, skills, and traits. They'll also reward items, including new runes and sigils, a fancy weapon skin for your new weapon type, and an armor skin for a single matching piece of armor, usually headgear or shoulders. As long as you've purchased Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns, TM, you'll automatically unlock access to all elite specializations in PvP.
Yep. And based on the graphics, they let slip that the elite specialization for Elementalist will be called the Tempest.
Which is a good name.
It's a good name.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
If you have a lot of questions, which I know we do,
Yes.
especially with what might be happening with your favorite or main profession, during the live stream on Friday, which will certainly be on YouTube eventually, they're going to show off all of the changes to all of the professions during the stream.
It says we'll be going over changes in each profession, but he doesn't say all.
Well, okay, probably traits. Trait changes.
Awesome. I might actually tune in.
I will wait for it to be on YouTube. Because, remember when they did all of the balancing changes?
Mm-hmm.
The way that they cut up those YouTube videos so that it was, super easy to see exactly what was happening,
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that.
Well, that's true. That was really nice. Okay. You make a good case, Counselor Celeste. I totally will back you on that.
So, now for some other news. The Tournament of Legends PvP tournament, hosted in part by Digital Professional Sports, will be helping to sponsor the 3rd Tournament of Legends. And there's going to be rewards at every round. You have to have a team of 5. The tournament will begin on May 23rd for Europe and May 30 for North America. And the registrations begin on the 24th at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Isn't that today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Sorry, we're late. Prizes include legendary weapons, legendary weapon components, gems, precursor weapons, blackline claim tickets, and finishers. So they're able to gift claim tickets and finishers for a tournament. Why can't I do this in the gem store? Why? Why can't I send somebody a finisher? Just why?
I don't know.
You know, during our Facebook giveaway, what I really wanted to give away was finishers, but I couldn't, so I gave away outfits.
Oh, finishers would be awesome.
I wanted to give away 3 unicorn finishers, but I couldn't.
Rainbow unicorn. Everyone who participates up until the 32nd place gets a mini llama for participating. Celeste, do you want to make a team? Can we make it to 32nd? Are you reading Cal's comment?
Yes, Cal's comment of Q, Eye of the Tiger, and training montage. That would be pretty close to that.
We should do that!
It may have to happen.
We may have to make a team and actually have our videos with that music playing.
Viewers of the tournament are also eligible for prizes, so...
That might be easier.
Well, yes. So you guys should definitely check it out. It should be fun.
Following on the theme of llamas, fancy llamas, Joshua Grouch Davis, content marketing manager and events manager, had a news post about to participate in community-run PvP tournaments and obtain the most lavish llama in the land. And have you seen this little bastard? I don't know, does that count swearing? Because that dude is fantastic.
It's very cute.
Yes. So it's basically a llama with the Chauncey monocle and bowler hat and bow tie. But a llama.
Yes.
So beginning today, you will have the opportunity to earn mini llamas in addition to the existing gem prize rewards by participating in approved community-run PvP tournaments. As a general rule, placing in the top 50% of any of the following tournaments will earn you a reward. As a note, you can only earn 1 mini llama per week, but you can participate in as many events as you'd like. An option is available for every type of player from new to very experienced for both North America and Europe. Now here's the good part. To transform your mini llamas, of which you should have many, into a mini fancy llama, simply combine 3 mini llamas in the Mystic Forge with 1 essence of llamatic elegance. I actually hadn't read this yet. Llamatic elegance, found at any Laurel vendor. Once you complete this, you'll be well on your way to obtaining the mini lavish llama, the most distinguished and handsome llama in Tyria. The path to the ultimate llama will be soaked with the tears of your opponents, but it will be well worth it if you can accomplish the feat.
Yeah, it's already at the Laurel vendor for 3 laurels, so if you want to buy it now, you may.
Sorry, I'm still soaked with the tears of your opponents. I'm easily amused. I don't know if you've noticed this.
It's something I think a few of us might be aware of.
I play my cards close to my chest.
In the gem store, there is the exemplar outfit, also known as Countess Anice's clothing, for 700 gems.
Yeah, my budget is done, but I will have it just next month.
Yeah, somebody asked for it on the giveaway, so I had to gift it, and I was like, but I'm not buying it for myself. So, I'll get there. And there is also the Mad Scientist logging tool for 1,000 gems, and it kind of looks like a weird, like, twirly chainsaw made of a lightning beam, and it's kind of cool looking.
I actually haven't looked at it yet, so...
I watched the video on Ladolfi.
Ladolfi. Yeah, I usually do that, I just haven't yet. Mostly because if I'm going to be buying gems, which I will, I'm getting the exemplar outfit, so I don't even want to look at the logging tool in case I fall in love with it.
It's not that cool, in my opinion. But, you know, it's something different.
You said it looks like a weird twirly chainsaw made of a lightning beam.
Yeah.
Look, that sounds like it would chop down wood efficiently.
It does.
There is also the World Tournament Series Championship. There was a news post by Joshua Davis on the official Guild Wars 2 site. Do you have what it takes to win the next World Tournament Series Championship? They'll be at Gamescom in Cologne on August 8th, and you can win up to 50,000 USDs.
Yep. And you qualify by placing well in the goal for Guild Wars 2 weekly cups for the month of May. And then the World Tournament Series.
Good luck to you guys. Back to the tournament at PAX East. It was really exciting to sit there live and watch it. So it gave me an interest in watching the tournaments more, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, yay.
The Overwolf app challenge gets you an endless interface crafter golem tonic, in addition to the other prize offerings.
And Guild Wars 1 is 10 years old. I was going to say we should sing happy birthday to it, but maybe not. But
yeah, happy birthday, Guild Wars.
Happy birthday. You're almost of the age where you can legally babysit. Because I think it's 12. Anyway, so Guild Wars 1 turned 10 yesterday, wasn't it? Was it actually yesterday or the day before?
It's not until the 25th.
Oh, I thought it was tomorrow, they said. Anyway, there are new weapon sets.
New weapons. New weapon stats. And it's going on until May 6th, so you have plenty of time to get in and
That's only 2 weeks, though. That's not very long.
No, it's not, but it doesn't take you very long to actually do it. I mean, if you sit down and buckle in, it'll take you a day.
Oh, okay. So my Saturday is now Guild Wars 1-zing.
Yeah, for now. Surviving the Mists.
Hello everybody, welcome to Surviving the Mists, the segment in which we discuss key issues, strategies, and the awesomeness of World v. World and PvP. Whether you're a veteran or a rookie, there's always something valuable discussed for you here. This week, we're going to be going over roaming, and I've titled this one, Roaming Rudiments. So, what is roaming and why do people do it? So roaming, if you're unfamiliar with the term or what people do, it's when you go into World v. World as a solo player, and basically I like to think of this as kind of like man vs. wild. You're kind of like throwing yourself into the wild with no protection, just you, and you're going to be fighting a mixture of NPCs or like players, enemy camp guards and things like that. Or you could bump into other roamers, and this is like what makes it really exciting and really challenging. It's because if you do well roaming, you just get this like really good sense of pride. Like, look, I have conquered the wild. I have conquered the borderlands. At least that's what I get from it, and I see that in other people as well. So essentially what you're going to be doing when you go into roaming or into a borderland as a roamer is you're going to be focused on camp flipping and taking control of the control points or the veteran scouts or guards that are in between the camps that can delay Doliac caravans. Simply because as a solo player, you really can't effectively take down towers or other objective points, so you're going to be focused on camp flipping. Additionally, you're going to be focused on player kills, because when you are roaming in the Borderlands, it's not like going into PvP where you set up the structured match. You could enter into a situation where you're fighting another player at any time, which makes it really exciting and can be really nerve-wracking sometimes, because you could be in the middle of flipping a camp, have a quarter health left, and then you could have someone come flying in like a warrior with a hammer and just engage in this fight with you, and so you have all sorts of things to attack and defend against. So it makes it a really exciting and really fun part of the game, and it's pretty challenging. But I've seen a lot of people that typically do PvE and say they don't really like the PvP experience really take to roaming, simply because it's a mixture of fighting in a PvE style, flipping camps quickly and effectively, as well as looking out for enemy players. It's really fun. It's really neat. Have either of you ever done solo roaming?
I have, but only sometimes as a function of trying to get to a group of people.
Oh.
And then I'll maybe try to take, what is it? I'm drawing a blank on the name all of a sudden, like the little flags that...
Those are the guard outposts, or the veteran guards that I was talking about before.
Yeah, so I will try to hit those. I'll try to go out, and I'm out of my way to hit those if I can, but Yeah. Mostly roaming for me is a game of hide and seek. Or just hide.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think I've ever done solo roaming except in that, like, I couldn't find a group.
Yeah. See, that's me too. I don't actively do it.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm Havoc. I've said that before, but, like, almost all the time I'm Havoc.
Havoc squads are definitely fun to run around in, but if you're interested in trying roaming, I really encourage you to do it because for me, it's the closest thing in the game to running out into a woods and trying to survive on my own. It's kind of fun man versus wild or woman versus wild experience. So with these things in mind, can anyone roam? Like, does it take a special kind of person to roam? No, anyone can roam, but there are some things that you need to be aware of in order to be effective at roaming. Primarily, it's your roaming build versus your zerging build. So if you go into World v World in either a Havoc squad or a Zerg, you're probably going to be having one of the builds off meta battles. And if you're not using one of those, I strongly suggest that you look up the builds on meta battles simply because they really provide the best skill set, the best itemization for running around with a Zerg. Now the roaming build is going to be very different from that, where a Zerg build is meant to be fighting in a group and is fine-tuned and tailored to that. Mm-hmm. The roaming build is going to be based on surviving as a solo player. So you're going to have a mixture of several things. One of the most important things, though, is mobility, because the Borderlands are a very large open area to have fights in. So you need to be able to get to certain objectives quickly, and you also need to be able to move around during your fight, because if you can move around during the fight, you're really kind of controlling the tempo and the speed of any fight that you're in, and you can also disengage or flee if need be, because, I mean, there's no sense in giving someone a free bag if you don't have to, right? Mm-hmm. So that in mind, you need to have a very mobile and self-sustaining build. You need to have some sort of healing capability, stun breaking capability. That way you can't get locked down. Now, some strategies beyond builds to help you be an effective roamer. Do a little research before you go out into the Borderland. Learn about camp stacking spots. That's kiting the mobs and then pulling them into a stacking spot. That way you can effectively kill them all at about the same time, kind of like how you do in dungeons. Also, learn about other roamer builds. That way, you know what to expect from other players you may encounter. But the stacking thing, that'll really help you, especially if you're a PvE player that thinks, well, I'd like to get into World v World roaming, but I want to know how to do it effectively. Camp stacking spots, that'll really, really help you out.
That's cool.
I was kind of bullheaded and didn't really do it the first couple months I was a roamer, because I thought, well, my build's really mobile. I'll just run in circles around the camp and throw grenades in as an engineer. Well, yeah, that worked, but I realized I could clear the camp like 2 minutes faster if I stacked them together. Mm-hmm. So that's a really effective strategy. And there's plenty of resources on YouTube. Like, all you have to do is type down Guild Wars 2 or GW2 camp stacking spots, and something should come up.
Now, I have a question. I mean, obviously, you're roaming. You're doing this as a solo thing.
Yeah.
So if it's two people, does that instantly make it not solo roaming?
No.
I know it doesn't, but, you know, because solo
No.
implies one. But I'm just wondering, like, would it still be worthwhile to maybe, like, do teamsies?
Absolutely. Personally, I consider roaming to be 1 or 2. Havoc squads, I consider 3 to 8, and then a small Zerg is like 9 and up or 10 and up. That's just a rough number estimate. Like, you could argue the points on either of them. Like, you could say, well, you can't really take a tower effectively in our tier of play with only 3 people. So you could say that's roaming as well. But I like to think of roaming as 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most people.
Okay.
Is that fair and good to do? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're new to it and you don't really want to strike out on your own and get stomped on. Like, that's totally fine.
Or perhaps teaming up with someone who knows what they're doing.
Yes. Teaming up with someone that knows what they're doing is really helpful, because in case you don't know this, you can upgrade camps in World v World, and they're pretty easy to take out if they haven't been upgraded. But if they have been fully upgraded, they can be very challenging to take out as a solo player, like for anyone. Many of my guildmates that I consider to be very good players say that they struggle with fully upgraded camps because they have many more guards and things like that. And so if you aren't familiar with the upgrade process and what that can do, you may stumble into a camp and just have no idea why you died. And so, yeah, it's totally good to have someone with you that can explain that. I see that you put Tap That Mouse in on the notes. He is a very good resource, but one thing I will say about him, and this is not bad at all, this is actually a compliment, but it's also a warning against people that use him as a resource. He is a very, very good player, and the builds that he puts out there, like his Legendary Warrior 3.0, that is a very good build. It is a very good alteration on the Greatsword Hammer roaming build for warriors. However, it is very difficult to play. Like, that is not a build that I would recommend to a relatively newer player.
So maybe for somebody that's already a roamer but
Yes.
needs to get some good ideas, or maybe just somebody that wants to see, how it's done in a very basic sense of use this as a very broad outline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does offer some tips, and he has some very good insights, which I think he's very valuable to watch. That's just my one little warning is don't think that you can pull off the things that he does in his montages, because
Oh yeah.
the dude's insanely good. Sir Kuroshi is another one, or Kuroshi. He's also a very good player, but don't expect just because you're using these guys as builds and you watch their videos to walk into World v World and just own everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be sorely disappointed.
Understood.
Now, the next thing I want to talk about is etiquette and manners. This isn't something that you would typically think of, but this is, when you're roaming in World v World, it does and make you encounter other players in an opposing circumstance. So manners and etiquette do come into play. Something that I've found is that there is, among some players, kind of not a code of etiquette, but courtesy gets extended. People that go into World v World simply looking for fights often do not pin, I find. If they find you simply crossing and they end up attacking you, oftentimes they won't pin you. They'll just bow and run off, which the first time that happened to me, I totally didn't understand. I was like, why would he not pin me? And I talked to one of my guild leaders about it, and he said, well, a lot of people go in and look for fights, and the really good players, they typically don't pin.
Question, what does pin mean?
Pinning is to finish, to kill someone to the
Stop.
point where they need to
Okay.
respawn. Sorry,
Okay.
I probably should have explained that.
The fact that I don't know, I am able to ask these questions.
Yeah. Essentially, they would just bring you to a downstate and run off.
Okay.
And this is a courtesy that it's just very nice to have that happen to you. It's like, oh, crap, I got killed by this guy. Oh, what's this? He's bowing, and now he's running away? Well, that's so kind. It just makes you feel like a really good person. So when that happens, like, really, really appreciate it, because it's a very nice thing. And also extend that to other players when you can. Now, I'm not saying that you should always do this, because World v World is a player versus player experience. But I kind of have a policy within myself. I don't kill up levels that are roaming, especially if I look at the name that's given to them, like if it's whatever server, like recruit, I see that they're like a very new player, I typically just avoid them.
Okay.
Let's say you do encounter someone with like a really bad attitude, like they kill you while you're flipping a camp or something, so you're very low health, and then they start dancing on your body. That's nothing to get upset about, because that's a reflection on them and not you. Mean people are typically bad, and the good players are typically very nice. So let that just be a consolation to you, if you happen to have a situation where someone is, kind of treating you unfairly.
I have had that happen, and actually, to be honest, it hasn't bothered me. I honestly don't see it any different than the comical or embarrassing finishers. I can totally see why it would bother people, but it doesn't bother me at all, surprisingly.
Yeah,
Now, if they smack talked and were rude, then...
if someone is rude to me, I typically message them and say, hey, good fight. And then they kind of change their tone. They're like, yeah, sorry I was dancing on your corpse. Like, it's cool. I make a pretty good dance floor.
You only have one move anyway.
Yeah. Last week, I gave you guys a challenge, and the challenge was, while waiting for a PvP match to start, say hello to your team and briefly describe your build and capabilities and see how your matches go. Allona and Celeste, how did this go for you?
I always say hello to my team. Partly it's that I don't know how to describe my builds sometimes. Because I make them myself, I don't use build editor things.
Okay.
So I will try, I'll sometimes, not 100% of the time, but I would say, I'm trying for this, or I would at least let them know my objectives with the character, rather than perhaps my build. Like, say, in Temple of Silent Storm, I would say, I'm going to try for all the communes. So that sort of thing. If I didn't know how to describe my build.
Well, did you communicate more this week than you normally do?
Yes, I would say so.
Did you notice any change in your matches?
No.
Ah, crap. You're just trying to make me seem useless.
No, but they weren't worse necessarily. They were about the same.
Okay, fair enough.
I would say that's about how it went for me too. I would describe, kind of the basic outline of my build, but I also am bad and don't use meta battle for my builds.
Oh, no, that doesn't make you bad. That doesn't make you bad.
But it makes it harder to describe what exactly I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I come into as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I do tend to describe more about what I'm planning to do. And it seemed like in a couple of the matches, it went a little bit better.
Okay, good.
But in a couple of them, they were like, well, I can't hold it against you, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, all right then.
The match where I did mention that I was wanting to get all the communes, I did get all but 2 of them.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I was very impressed. I got 8 of them. 8 communes.
Jeez.
On Temple of the Silent Storm.
Good.
Yes, I was very happy with that one.
Now, I do just want to say this about what you said about I'm bad. I don't look up meta battle builds. That doesn't make you bad. And I hope I haven't implied that to anyone that listens to this podcast. Like, you're not a bad player if you don't look up your builds. But I do really strongly encourage it, simply because even if you are one that likes to be creative and make your own builds, I've encountered a number of players that, they're just like, I like to make my own builds. That is completely fine. Mm-hmm. Be creative, go for it. But I still encourage you to look at what's going on in the meta battle, simply because it can help you understand how the traits work and how things can synergize together. And it can often give you a really good start, and then you can be creative from there. Like, I typically modify the roaming builds to suit my own needs, because I find that this is kind of embarrassing because I'm a musician, but I kind of find that I'm not very creative with my builds. They normally just, if I try to cook up something myself, it's probably the worst thing that could ever happen to a Guild Wars 2 character. So I typically find meta battles a really good place for me to start. I learn how the traits work, learn things that go together really well, and then I design something off of that.
But I find what's fun for me, and I enjoy it, and I personally feel like I am effective to what I am trying to do, generally. But if I look up what I'm trying to run, everything says, never run this, it is the worst thing in the world, and then I feel crappy. So I just don't look at it anymore. So...
Well, just because someone may say it's the worst thing in the world doesn't mean that it's not going to be effective, because you can literally make everything work and make everything be viable in certain situations, especially if your focus is PvE. I know that this segment focuses on the PvP and World v World aspects of builds, but if you're a PvEer, do whatever. Really, it's totally fine, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could rage at me for that, but I think PvE is totally fine.
Fun for a reason. It's a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's paying me to play, so I'm gonna do what I want.
Unless you guys get some sponsorships.
Well, that's not likely.
For PvE play.
Sponsored by Fruit Juice.
Basically. That we have to buy ourselves.
It's true.
Maybe I could get the train company to sponsor me, since they're featured on the podcast.
Or Turtle Tank, whatever you called it.
What? Where were you going with that?
I can't remember what you called the Turtle's tank.
The aquarium?
Turtle aquarium.
Okay. Okay, so the World v. World challenge was, with a Zerg, stay on top of your commander's tag unless he or she specifically asks you to leave their tag. Did either of you happen to do this?
I was like glue.
Likewise, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
No.
You didn't get, like, more event credit or anything like that?
Oh, well, a bit.
Wait. You didn't stay on Siege Razor, did you? Because
No.
he tends to stay in the spawn for a long time.
Yeah, I just stood there for an hour.
This is the
Sorry, I
most
was
fun
just
I've ever
teasing.
had in game.
No, I was on a commander. The thing is that it was a small Zerg. It was like 15, 20 people at most.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that I got more credit than usual.
I did, but I think it was mostly because I wasn't playing my Mesmer.
Okay.
So I was able to keep up.
Now, what do both of you typically play in World v. World? What character or tune?
Typically Mesmer.
Ranger.
So, Celeste, you actually probably, when you guys engage in fights and things like that, you want to kind of try to stay on the outside and shoot in at enemies while still staying kind of close to. I mean, you probably already know that, but just, in the future, you don't always need to stay really tight on the tag.
It was mostly just like, for the time that I spent there when I was trying to get this done, basically all we did was just like cap the whole map. Like, there was almost no opposition, so
Oh, that kind of makes
it was a
little
bad
boring.
night, I guess.
Cap the whole map.
Okay, my challenge for you this week then is to roam, either as a solo or as a duo group.
If you want to.
Yeah, if you want to. And that is my challenge. Not
Roam
just for
if you
two.
want to. Roam around the world.
And that's also for the listeners. If you've never tried roaming and are interested in it, go for it. Because, it may be an aspect of the game that you really take to. Or it could just be absolutely horrible. But I think you'll like it.
I will try.
Okay, and the game from last Survive in the Mist segment was have any one of the in-game transformation tonics for use in real life. Which would you choose and what would you use it for? I really like the responses that we got for this.
Yes.
There's a lot of good ones.
Tillian from Dragon Season, he said, the Endless Winter's Day present one to make others happy.
So
That was
sweet.
really sweet.
Yeah.
Romo on Twitter said that the endless fractal tonic, since you can transform into anything from an electric man, ooze, Norn, to even a tentacle. And a dolphin!
Does the Endless Fractal Tonic exist? Is that actually a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We're bad.
Yeah, I've done like 9 fractals in my entire life. I know of no such thing.
I'm guessing it's a thing.
Yeah. Email from Particle Shift. Greeting amazing podcasting trio. Oh, thank you for that. I was thinking about the homework, and since the bobblehead lab was considered an acceptable answer for the tonic, personally, I would go with the Super Adventure Box O Fun. This is different from the regular Box O Fun in all the right ways. I love that, in all the right ways. And I'll look this up. I do like the differences.
So there it is on the stream. It's pretty funny looking. I'll leave it up there for a wee bit.
And then I had one reply from a guildmate. Her name is Cuddles, and she said the endless cat tonic or kitten tonic, and her reasoning was because kittens.
Because
Yes.
I thought it was pretty great.
And we also had one from Artful on Twitter, Endless Mystery Tonic, to continue to mystify the masses.
Ooh.
Yes, and from Kate from Relics of War, she had said, endless Mordrum Terragriff tonic for bowling.
It's like, yes. That would
I just
be
got
amazing.
that tonic this week.
Do you go bowling?
No.
No.
I'm actually kind of too scared of it to use it. I've been killed by those things too many times. Whenever I put it on, I feel like, I don't know, a monster. I can't do it.
They are quite terrifying.
Yeah.
So the upcoming game is that... I like this one.
Yeah.
Okay, the game for this one, I was kind of inspired by this because I live near the Michigan border, and so I see TV ads every once in a while for Michigan, and I always just think they're no offense to Michigan, I just think that state tourism ads are like the cheesiest thing ever.
They are.
And so I thought it would be great to come up with a cheesy tourist advertising slogan for one of the maps. So like you could say, Fireheart Rise, so you can get burned, or something like that.
Work on your tan.
Yeah. And I actually put a link in the notes about that has a list of all like the cheesy state tourism slogans, and some of them are really, really cheesy. So I hope that the community can really put forth some cheesy tourist slogans for some of the map locations.
Yes, I hope so.
I'm looking up what the provincial slogans would be. Hey, there we go. Oh, they're terrible.
And this goes for any map zone. So cities, and then any leveled zone, and South Sun Cove, and any of the new ones like Dry Top and Silver Waste.
Some of these are really terrible. Sorry, I hadn't read any of them yet.
Yep.
Wow.
I actually looked up the ones on license plates for Canada, and one of the ones from Prince Edward Island from 76 to 1980 was just seatbelt save. That's all it says. Not save lives. Perhaps money. We don't know. Seatbelt save.
I like it. So we hope that you guys really pour on the cheese.
Yes.
There's a lot to do this week now.
Ask an Azura.
For our Ask an Azura question, we got one from Artful on Twitter. Does your character's level or magic find affect using or opening Black Lion chests? So, and you had really good answers here, Celeste, so I'm going to let you...
There are no variations on loot drops based on your level while opening up a Black Lion chest. This is different from champion bags, which deviate depending on both your character's level and the level of the zone you're in at the time of opening them. This
Really?
last factor, this last value, is defined on the wiki, but I don't see a discussion to back it up, and it could also be left over from a page merge, so there's a chance that it's not correct, but it definitely is based on your character's level.
I thought that was a very good question to answer. And also, that is interesting. I can't imagine that's true for champion bags.
I'm not sure that it is. Tales of Tyria. So I found this really great website. Well, okay, I didn't really find it. They talked about it on GuildGab, but it was post-show, so I figure I'm probably okay to go ahead and talk about it here. It's a site called qqmore.net, and they have a whole bunch of videos with different ways of PvPing, basically, and doing really well at killing other people in-game. Or how to, just make yourself better at the game, like countering save stomps, or doing better dodge jumps, or rotating the screen so that it's better for you, stuff like that. But they have, really basic stuff, really in-depth guides, and then they have, the more theory crafting and interviews with, top-tier players and stuff like that. So it's really interesting.
And it's a well-laid-out site. It looks nice, and it's well laid out.
And honestly, that helps a lot.
It does. I appreciate that level of attention to detail. I'm like, ooh. I found I haven't been going to Reddit as much lately, but I was there the other day, and there was a post for 400 level chef in real life, and it is a series of links to a variety of, well, they do culinary cosplay, but this was an aggregate of all their Guild Wars 2 related recipes. Mm-hmm. And I like Celeste appended this with great, now I'm hungry.
Yes.
On the show notes. You can tell that I do the show page before I have dinner, because I tend to always put, I need something for Tales of Tyria, culinary cosplay.
Foods! All the foods. The Portobello burger has me drooling, and I don't normally like Portobello burger, but that looks pretty amazing.
Ooh.
Now we're just going to be talking about food for as long as possible.
That does look good.
I just had a bunch of pizza, so it's just not doing it for me.
Oh. So there also was this really cool game that I can't remember who tweeted it first, but it's been on the Twitters. It's at urkaru.net. It's called Ratasum Escape.
It's so fun.
It is maddening and so fun and so infuriating.
And fun.
And fun.
I really like it. I'm probably going to play a bit more of it before bed.
It's, you use the arrow keys and like spacebar. It's not hard, but it's fun.
I think the most I got was up to 6.44 seconds in the 3 times I played, like before coming upstairs.
I think I was getting close to 6 seconds or something. It's fun, but hard.
Gander Mountain is like so hard.
Yes. So if you have a community event that you would like for us to share, please send us an email at GWreporter@mmreporter.com.
And if you've got a burning question for our Ask in a Service segment, let us know. Lots of ways. Mm-hmm. The Twitters, the internets, the Facebooks, the in-game mails. It don't matter none.
Let's go ahead and talk about our sponsors. We are sponsored by Audible. If you go to audibletrial.com/mmreporter, you can get your free book with sound.
Books are better with sound.
I agree.
Except for like cards, when you open them and they play music, that's irritating.
Oh yeah, that is the worst actually.
We also have Doghouse Systems. If you use the coupon code MMOReporter at doghousesystems.com, you'll get an additional 120 gig SSD drive for free on your next build. And SSD could be a Superstar Destroyer or a variety of other things. Still working on this one. It's no Rambogo.
We're getting there. So our Patreon is at patreon.com/MMOReporter. So if you're in love with the show or the network, consider becoming a patron on our Patreon page. It really helps us out.
It was Star-Studded Diaper. That's what the other one was.
So terrible.
I love it.
So Allona, if people want to get into contact with us, how could they do so?
They can email us at gwreporter@mmmoreporter.com. Our Twitter is at gwreporter. Our website is guildwarsreporter.com. Our voicemail is 616-666-6778, or you can use the widget on the right-hand side of the website. Our YouTube channel is MMO Reporter Network, and remember to like our videos and subscribe to the GW Reporter playlist, and while you're there, poke around, you might find another show you like to watch. Facebook is GW Reporter. And we are also on the Twitters, since that's how we're saying it this week. And I am at One Big Pear, as in the fruit.
And I am at Selyuki. Or you can find us in-game, where I am Selyuki.5046 on the North American servers. And I forgot what my European one is. Sorry.
And I'm OneBigPear.1249. And please, Ultra, what is your in-game name?
I am Ultratown.5683.
And I love getting in-game messages. Like, seriously, I probably irritate people because they'll say hello and then I'll end up talking their ear off if I'm not, in a dungeon or a PvP match or something. So, if you want to be talked at and you see that I'm not in a personal instance or something, this is what happens.
Agreed. I've only got 2 messages from people, but it's been really nice.
Yeah.
Jawa sent me a message, which was wonderful, and someone with a really intricate and nice looking character name sent me a mail, but they signed it as Bob. So shout out to Bob.
Awesome. Thank you, Allona and Ultra. I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your wealth of knowledge and opinions.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, chat room, for just being you.
Being all sorts of special.
You're very special. Snow char flakes.
Yay, snow char flakes.
And thank you for downloading the show, and we hope that you come back again next week. We hope that you enjoyed the show, but most importantly, we hope to see you in-game.
Okay, so I glanced over at what you wrote, Sargorath, and for some reason, but yes, it sounds much fuller. I read it as, but yes, it sounds much fruitier at first. I was like, what? And then I reread, and it made more sense.
I'm gonna have to. I looked at the new weapon skins, and I really like them.
I haven't seen what they look like yet.
They're on the Guild Wars 1 wiki, and I realized that I just spoke the news.
Shh, we'll cut that out.
Yeah, we will.
Chat room, forget we said that.
Yes.
These aren't the weapon skins you're looking for.
Wednesdays. Oh, that's somebody's legendary just sticking up in the middle of the thing. I hadn't seen it until just now. Sorry. Let me start that over again.
Are you actually live in the game? Is that what's happening?
No, the looping video. I hadn't noticed that, out of nowhere, you just see, this great sword legendary, thrust up into the frame, and you're like, huh? Okay.
Fun rectals. Don't. Oh, that's. Why did I say that out loud?
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Right. So let's go ahead and talk about.
So, a report from Lion's Arch this week is girthy. Or something. It's something that implies the large. I'm not sure what the best descriptor is for that, but...
I'm cutting all of this, right?
Why?
You just described the section as being girthy, and then something that could be considered large.
It's a big section here. Anyway.
Double facepalm. Go ahead.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Celeste. I'm why you can't have anything nice.
Uh-huh. Go ahead. You're muted.
I was totally muted.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know I was talking? Because there was silence?
Yes. Profession reward tracks are packages of skills, traits, and specializations.
Why is it bad?
Profession reward tracks are
You always have one that
it's because you're talking when I'm getting ready to talk.
Okay.
Grr.
Okay. Shh. I'll be quiet.
Course. Oh, darn it. I hit space and lost my place. Where was I?
I picture you floating in space now. Like, oh no, I'm no longer even in my home. If only I hadn't hit the space bar. So, let's both talk at the same time.
The overwhelp. The overworld. The overworld. Oh my gosh, I cannot say overwolf.
See, and
okay.
It's not because I'm talking over you this time. Are you gonna mail me bad things? Actually, I just read up further in chat that Clouded will join our PvP team, and we will be called We Will Not Lose Horribly.
I like it.
Yes, I am totally fine with that.
I'm good with that. It's all for the llama.
Can you hear the turtle aquarium in the background?
No, but I did not expect that.
It just seems really loud. And a train went by like 20 minutes ago, so I'm sure there's going to be one any second now.
Can you hear the turtle aquarium in the background? Powered by turtle aquariums.
Yes. Turtles. 3d6 is a lot of damage.
It is a lot. Well, unless you're me, in which case it'll probably be 3. Because I am terrible at rolling dice.
Oh, when it comes to damage, I roll 20s.
On d6s? That's amazing.
It is. It's really amazing.
But
so,
really
moving...
neat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's still really neat. I don't talk for 5 minutes, then I come in on top of everyone. I'm so sorry.
The role of Allona will now be played by Ultra. And you can also... please.
I'm sorry. And I am at I am ultratown.5683. Oh no, you were doing the Twitter, weren't you? Oh, I'm so dumb.
No, you're fine, you're fine. Here, just a second. Or you can find us in-game, where I am Celyuki.5046 on the North American servers. And I forgot what my European was.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in-game.